Thank you so much. Now I will give a very brief introduction of the first speaker as he's making his way to the front of the room so that he can razzle and dazzle us with a wonderful speech. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael is no stranger to public speaking. He's a prolific speaker, and that's one thing that we strive for in this club, right? Just to be able to speak, as they say, as the old saying go, at the drop of a dime. Well, Michael is probably speaking at the drop of a quarter or a dollar, right? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let us please welcome Michael to the lectern. Michael, it's all yours.
Mr. Taylor and Dave here for that introduction. Today, I'm here to tell you about how I became the most violently Chinese person you'll ever meet after I came to America. Now, growing up, I didn't really play any instruments. I had my try at drums, even took a couple singing lessons, but no dice. Although, after I came to America, in fifth grade, I picked up violin with the not very short Mr. Short. Although my playing sounded quite horrible, I kept up with it, and by now, I say I'm a decent violin player. Violin is my love and passion, and for hours sometimes a day, I would practice to improve myself. In addition to violin, I also picked up ping pong. Now, it would be quite embarrassing when confronted with a ping pong table. My friends would look at me, Mike, you're Chinese. You know how to play, right? Yeah, sure. I picked up the paddle, and 2 shots later, they knew that I was lying. Fortunately, that changed around August of last year at my dad's birthday party. Although we had bought a table in our house because we're Chinese, duh, I really didn't get around playing much on it. At the birthday party, all our friends gathered in the game room and we started friendly games. I was so infatuated with the sport that I decided to start training it with my parents. My mom fortunately bought some paddles off of the Chinese website. These are very cheap, only $10, but I love them because they're the first paddles I started playing with. Now, of course, I didn't play with the normie shake hand grip, which is most commonly used for similarity to other racket sports like tennis or pickleball. I used instead the pen hold, the Chinese classic, dating back to the likes of Wang Hao and Liu Guoliang. This rubber, of course, is also the famous Chinese Hurricane 3, known for its grippiness and hard rubber, unharnessed by all those except the Chinese national team. I also went back to China over the summer, as many of you know, in which I undertook a 1-month training session to beat all my friends at ping pong. I've improved a lot since then, but I still have much to improve. Lastly, I picked up weightlifting. These are weightlifting shoes, built in with a heel to make deep squatting easier. Also, quite solid. Make sure you have a solid base when catching heavy weights overhead. Weightlifting consists of the snatch and the clean and jerk. Now, you might wonder, Chinese people are known to be quite frail and slim, usually not with the big linebacker builds of Europeans. How would they dominate in some sport such as weightlifting? Well, let me tell you. This year at the Paris 2024 Olympics, they landed 5 out of 10 gold medals. In fact, they probably would have gone more if they'd been allowed to send more than 6 athletes. It was quite by accident that I picked up weightlifting. Obviously, I don't look like I hit the gym very often. So, how did I pick it up? Well, I decided that squats, bench, and deadlift was a little too normal. It wasn't working. So, I found the quirkiest thing you can do with a barbell: snatches and clean and jerks. Of course, you would pick the widest grip that you can possibly hold, then get into a compressed position where your knees are touching your elbows and you're folded over in half. Then you launch the weight overhead and catch it in a deep squat. Very safe, because the bar can obviously come crashing down anywhere if you don't catch it correctly. Clean and jerk, equally daunting. You have to flip the weight from about a slightly wider than deadlift grip onto your shoulders, once again catching it in a deep squat, standing up, praying for your life, and hoping that the weight lands overhead when you jerk it. However, I love weightlifting for its technical aspects. The fact that not strength is the determining factor for how much you lift, but your technique. So I'll spend hours a day, not hours, but several times a day after my lifting session, scrubbing through my lifting clips, second by second, because a snatch is done in less than 2 seconds. So I will scrub frame by frame and look for any technical imperfections. The same aspect appealed to me in ping pong. Ping pong is not a game of strength or agility. It's more of speed, reflexes, and also skill. You would have to get to the ball, but to hit it properly, you need agility and you need skill. Sorry. Violin is the same. You need to practice hours and hours on end to perfect your technique in order to become the best player. All my 3 interests, despite being violently Chinese, all appeal to my desire for skill. Now, you may wonder, why would I pick up all these things after this? Well, the simple reason is because when I was living in China as a child, I didn't need to feel China. I already was. Around me were hundreds and thousands of faces just like mine. I was just one of the crowd. But here in America, I was different. Part of a small ethnic population that is deeply intertwined with its culture. At home, I speak Chinese with my parents, and I enjoy Chinese dinner every day. Therefore, I wish to keep my Chinese identity part of me further on in life. Perhaps I'll pass it on to my children. Who knows?
Wonderful job. Excellent. Excellent. Our next evaluator is Cavalier Tim Zhu, who will introduce us. Well, he will tell us the objectives of the second speaker. Tim, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. So I will be the evaluator for Irvin, if I said that name correct. If you could correct me if I said it wrong.
Okay, Irvin.
Arvin, okay. And you will be doing your icebreaker speech. And for the icebreaker speech, I'll be evaluating how if you have structure to your speech, like an opening, a body, or a closing, and how well you're prepared for that speech. Also, I will be evaluating how you present the speech. And some things to take note of when I'm evaluating will be just your tone, since this is your first speech, you don't necessarily have to have that much body language, but I will still be looking for that. And I will also be looking at how clearly and audible you are. And I'll just be evaluating your entirety of your speech. So give you the floor, Mr. Ivan.
Okay, let's welcome Ivan up. And remember, Mr. Ivan, keep your eye, well, you will see a green background from the timer when you reach the 4-minute mark. So if you know you're about to wrap up and you don't see a green background, you may have to ad-lib a little bit, right? But that's what the role of the timer is, just to give you an indicator of where you are in your speech. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Irvin. It's all yours.
Today I'll be talking about myself. I like math, chess. I'm a percussionist, and I like sleep. But I'm also an animal person. But today I'm going to be telling you guys about my pets, 1, 2, and Sunny. And yes, they're called 1, 2, and Sunny. Let's go in order. First, we have Sunny, orange skin cat with a white belly that's very nimble and also likes humans a lot. He likes to escape though. Next, we have 2. He's a Shiba Inu mixed with something I kind of forgot. He's playful. He also likes humans. He's also a sacred, and he loves to play around in the yard and sometimes catch rats. And lastly, we have Sunny, the scared of everything one. He's he has a black coat and is, as I said, scared of everything. That's everything about my pet. Next, we go to the thing that everyone loves, math. I don't know what I can say about it, but as an agent, I know I should like it. And I did multiple math competitions, like AMCH, and I'm planning on joining my math company at school at what middle. And the last thing I want to talk about is check. I don't know why, but everyone's so crazy about it after 2019 and COVID. Probably because that we are indoors a lot and had nothing to do. And so I also picked up on that hobby and I'm pretty good. At least that's what I think so. And I think another thing I want to add on is I'm in the band and I'm in the Memphis Youth Symphony program as a percussionist in the concert band. I'm also a percussionist at school. That's all for the
Wonderful job, Icebreaker. Wonderful job. Now it's time that we move into the table topics session. Unfortunately, on the agenda, the table topics host has his name struck out, but I think I know who your today's table topics master is. Jason Pendergrass. Now let's get it on with Jason.
Thank you, Coach Matthew. Trying to use the word of the day, communicate. How has Toastmasters benefited you in other aspects of your life? That goes to actually Horace.
Restate the question, please.
How has Toastmasters benefited you in other aspects of your life?
Thank you for the question. How has Toastmasters benefited me in other areas of my life? I hope this is not embarrassing for my son, but here is how Toastmasters has helped me. Each morning when I get up, it's about 4:15. When I leave heading to work, it's about 5:15. At about 5:18, I expect to hear motion in my son's room. I hear no motion, so I go to his door, and you would think that I would knock lightly and say, "Oh, Sonny, are you in there? Will you please wake up? It's a new day." No, Toastmasters have taught me to be more direct. So I walk up to the door and I punches the door really hard and I said, "Xavier, wake up! It's time to go to school." That's how Toastmasters has helped me in other parts of my life. And the moment he hears me, he yells, "I'm up, I'm awake," and I can tell by the way that it sounds, he just woke up because I just became his alarm clock. So I said, "Okay, I know you're up now, Sonny. I love you. Have a great day. I'm off to work." And then I go to work. And when I get at work, believe it or not, there are people there that work 24 hours. I walk into my office, and little did I know, one of my colleagues is nodding out. And I said, "Wait a minute. You're supposed to be awake. You're on the clock." So I said, "Hey, you, wake up. It's a new day." And that's how Toastmasters have helped me. It has allowed me to become more forceful in a fun way, getting people to re-energize. Thank you so much for that wonderful question.
Using the word of the day to communicate. If you give your 10-year-old self advice and you would listen, what would that be?
All right, thank you for that question, Jason. If I could tell my 10-year-old self anything, it would be when you're asked a question, just communicate, answer truthfully, and be open about what you're into. For a long time, I wasn't sure what I was into. Whenever I was asked a question, I'd give short answers and I just not want to talk. But now that I'm older, I realize communication is key in a lot of stuff. Me personally, when I grow older, I want to get into selling cars. You got to be able to talk to the customer, know their interests, and you got to be open to them about what they want and what's best for them. Not only that, but when your family is checking up on you, you gotta be open. You gotta be able to check on friends. Uh, so that's why, that's what I would tell my teammates.
What are your personal goals in Toastmasters this semester? What do you want to accomplish?
Can you restate the question?
So in Toastmasters this semester, what are some of your personal goals? What do you want to?
In Toastmasters this semester, there are several things that I want to be able to do. First off, I'd like to be able to communicate better, or whatever my definition of communicate is. I want to be able to talk with my friends better, be able to get out what I mean better, and to be able to present speeches and effectively, uh, effectively communicate with others. Also, I'd like to be able to be better at presenting speeches, uh, giving rebuttals, and be able to talk to others and be able to listen to what others are saying, and also be able to respond to what others are saying. Finally, in Toastmasters, I'd also like to be able to get better at just like talking to people, be able to like see what try to hear what they're doing, like ask like understand them better, and just maybe to become a better friend. Thank you.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And what is your plan to get there?
So, question was, where do I see myself in 10 years? How am I gonna get there? So, in 10 years, when I'm 22, I see myself as a billionaire. And I'm gonna do that by flying planes and also making rubber ducks. I have a plan and a company on how I would make the rubber ducks. The company name would be Duck on Quack. And then I would have different types of rubber ducks. I would manufacture them probably in China, where I'll probably be staying like multiple times a day. I'm gonna be a billionaire, like I said, by also traveling a lot and making deals with clients, such as selling Michael 500 million rubber ducks for $20,000. With that, I'll be able to become a billionaire by 22. And that's what I see myself in 10 years to be.
All right. How is third grade different than second grade? Go with Deanna on that one.
Okay, lunchtime.
All right. Next. Similar, a question we've heard earlier. What are your personal goals in Toastmasters?
I honestly don't have any goals for this semester because every time I set a goal, I will always fall short. Every single time, without fail. So I might give myself a small goal, even though I'll never reach it anyway. So maybe just like be able to speak publicly without prescription drugs.
Again, where do you see yourself in 10 years and what is your plan to get there? David?
Thank you for the excellent question, Mr. Pendergrass. Where do I see myself in 10 years? In 10 years, first, most likely, is flying planes at a commercial airline, making lots of money. As flying has been a passion of mine for quite some time now. And I've always enjoyed planes, being on planes since I was a young kid up until now. I've always enjoyed flying. So flying is one thing I really love doing. I never get tired of. The other thing I might see myself doing is playing basketball within 10 years. Because although I love flying much, I also love basketball a lot. So whichever one works out during my time in college, whichever one I decide to pursue, is probably what I'll be doing in 10 years. Thank you for the excellent question, Mr. Pendergrass.
Describe the feelings you had when you sent your son Peter to college. Aaron?
Yeah, that question is for me, my feeling when I sent my son to college. My feeling was I was gonna cry because Peter was my favorite second son. I have two sons. Matthew is older one, Peter is the younger son. Peter ended up in the business school at Indiana University. When we went to China for a 2-week trip, we came back to US, landed in Chicago, and we went straight to Bloomington, Indiana to help him move into his dorm. He was very quick to move in and made a lot of friends. That night, he went out with his friends playing basketball. He's always a people person, very outgoing, so I don't think he will have any problem in the college making friends and having a good time. The only problem I have is he may have too much fun, good time in college and forget about what's the most important things. So I texted him last night and I said, "Are you gonna call us every Sunday night like your brother always does?" He said, "Most likely." What is that supposed to mean? So if I don't get a call, I'm gonna call him and check on him because, hey, I'm a mom, so I gotta do what I gotta do. But I'm glad he made it to the college. He's on his own. He's independent now. So I'm very proud of him. Thank you for that question.
What is your favorite subject in school and why? That goes to Tim.
Thank you for the question. So, what is my favorite subject in school? That is kind of between two subjects for me. I'd either say it'd be math because it's really easy, or chemistry because I'm pretty interested in chemistry as you can do a lot of labs in there. And this coming Monday, we're actually doing another lab in our school, and it's something about gravimetric analysis, which personally I have kind of no clue about all I know is like you're measuring some mass of some substance and figuring out the mass of another substance. But I've been quite lost in that class for now, but I still find it really interesting when I actually understand it, talking all about elements, atoms, and just chemical reactions. I like blowing stuff up, of course. It's really fun. It's like I like a lot of reactions of sodium metal with like water. That's really interesting to me. And also just having like my friends in there, which is really nice too. I have most of my friends in my chemistry class, so we can all just have fun in the labs, just blowing some stuff up, making some reactions. I find that really fun. So I'd say that chemistry is probably my most favorite class in school. Thank you for the question.
What are your personal goals in Toastmasters this semester?
Thank you for the question. My goal in Toastmasters this semester is to be able to communicate with my audience more effectively. Right now, I'm not very comfortable with speaking in front of a crowd, but I hope to improve on my speech delivering skills, whatever you call it, by practicing in front of the audience here, which is this club, and being able to prepare for unexpected questions quickly in my head. That's what I'm hoping to improve in the business business. Thank you.
How has Toastmasters benefited you in other aspects of your life? John.
All right, thank you for the question. So, how has Toastmasters benefited other aspects of my life? Well, mainly Toastmasters has, of course, benefited my speech and my talking abilities. And I feel that through Toastmasters, I've had an increased sort of confidence in my ability to approach others and make friends, because naturally I'm more of like an introverted person, and I tend to, hesitate when I'm speaking or talking to new people. But with Toastmasters, I feel like I can speak, more confidently and have a more fluidly with other people and presenting in front of my class, giving presentations, explaining myself clearly. So yeah, thanks for the question.
Same question. How has Toastmasters benefited you in other aspects of your life? Mia.
So how did Toastmasters benefit me in other ways of my life? I guess it made speaking in front of people easier, especially for last year because I had to do some book talk presentations for my English class constantly. But like, I think that's about it because I don't really talk to others often in front of the class or any other class. So I guess that's how it benefited me.
You've been in 45 minutes of Toastmasters. What do you like about the class? What have you observed that you really enjoyed or seemed beneficial for you and your personal?
I've been in Toastmasters for 45 minutes, and what have I observed that I like? Honestly, this is just a really comfortable environment to be in. Everybody coming in here, being eager to learn about better communications is a really nice thing. Everybody supporting each other. Everybody here is very nice and funny. In general, this place just seems like a really fun place that I would be glad to spend many more classes and time. Thank you.
Same question. In the last 45 minutes, What have you observed in Toastmasters that you like, and you said it would benefit you in your personal life? And then what's your name? Lauren?
Amara.
Amara? Amara? Amara, good to meet you. Amara. What have you observed that you like? What have you enjoyed?
Okay, so I would say I like about it is everybody gets a turn on speaking and about the benefit. I guess in general it would benefit speaking in front of people that you don't know or different classmates that you feel nervous to speak to in front of. And I think it would help in the future too in the real world.
That's everyone other than our two speakers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Topics Master. Well, we're getting now to the very last section of the program where a lot of the growth happened, where evaluators will give their candid opinion of what they saw, what they assessed of each of the speakers. So let me call on first the general evaluator, Anna Jean.
Thank you, Toastmaster Forrest Taylor. As the general evaluator, I will take charge in the evaluation session of the meeting. Let me first bring our first evaluator, I think it's Xavier Taylor, to evaluate Michael's speech. Xavier?
All right. Thank you, Ms. General Evaluator. So before I get into evaluation, again, each part of the evaluation is being rated from 1 to 5. So when I say 5 or 4, it's not like 5 or 4 out of 10. All right. So first up is your preparedness. I see you using any notes. You look very prepared. Excellent speech. So I gave you 5 out of 5 on the preparedness. Your opening was just a little bit fast, but we can still track where your speech is going. So I gave you 4 there. Your body of your speech was excellent, clear and concise, easy to follow each part. Talked about each part for a specific amount of time and went to the next part. So that's 5 there. Transitions. During the beginning half of the speech, you use the same transitional phrase, word. But later in the speech, you started to use different ones. So I gave you 4 there. Your conclusion was great conclusion, easy to follow the ending of your speech. Your voice, you changed tones throughout the speech, so excellent. Both of those 5. Your language, your good usage of language. I didn't catch any filler words during your speech. I gave you 5 there. Eye contact, looked like you were looking at every person in the audience during your speech. So there's excellent eye contact there. I gave you 5 there. Body language, for some of the meeting, it looked like you were clasping your hands together or fingers together. There's some of the speech where in other times you were using your gestures. So I gave you 4 there. And engagement, you brought a prop to show your audience during the meeting, and in certain parts of the meeting, you made the audience laugh. So I gave you a 5 on the engagement too. So on a 50-point scale, you got a 47 out of the 50 for your overall speech. My only recommendations is you were going a little fast. So you just maybe slow it down just a tad bit and use a little more gestures throughout your speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Xavier, for that excellent evaluation. Now, our second evaluator is Kim Wu, evaluating Irwin's the icebreaker. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator. So for this speech, this is an icebreaker speech from Irvin. And I would just like to say that first off, great speech. Is your first icebreaker speech. It was really wonderful. And we all got to know you a bit better today. And I'll just get straight into the evaluations. So the way I'll be evaluating is just based off of the prompts that I've been given on the form. So first things first is what are some strong suits I saw? The first thing is I would like to say that I saw that you did have some eye contact in between your notes and your speech, and I would like to say that is a really good skill to have, as I know a lot of people can struggle with eye contact, and I saw that you were kind of looking up and a bit around to other people throughout your speech, and that's really great. You weren't just idling, looking at something or just an object that's not the person. So that's a really great quality to have when you're starting to speak. And I saw that you were like not stuttering or any like uh I'd say having great long pauses, and I find that really great. So next thing is how well did we get to know you? And I'd say that we got to know you pretty well. You talked about your interests, your hobbies, and also your pets. And I'd like to say that it was great getting to know you, and I hope to we all get to know you better in the future meetings. And then next up, we have how well did you prepare for this speech? And I'd say you prepared quite well. I saw you had like a sheet of paper. I assume that was your notes, yes. And I saw that you also sent it. I requested access and I got to see what was on the contents. And I'd say your preparation for this speech was quite well. You had a whole speech written out, documented, and you were just reading off there. That's really good for your icebreaker speech. And next up is how clearly did we hear you? And I'd say from even online, I could still hear you pretty clearly. And sometimes there's a bit of gaps, but that's just technical issues. So I'd say you were pretty loud, you had a great voice, you had a pretty clear voice too. And next up is what about your speech's opening, body, and conclusion? I'd say you had a pretty great structure in your speech. You had a pretty good opening. You opened us up with an overview of what you're talking about. Then you went into talk in more detail about your pets, one, two, and Sunny. And then lastly, you concluded everything with your some of your hobbies like chess and then math. So some comments about your notes. I'd say this time, since it's the first icebreaker speech, it's a really well written notes and you had prepared pretty well. But in future speeches, I would recommend that you maybe just write bullet points and not a whole speech and start like maybe improvising or just having something in the back of your head to talk about rather than reading off the entire script. And lastly, uh, what would the speaker have done differently, or what you could improve on? I'd say you did pretty good overall, but just maybe include more gestures. I saw you were like kind of just holding your paper the whole time and just kind of reading off of it, but that's still really good, a good starting place to start off. So other than that, I'd say this is a really great icebreaker speech, and I hope to listen to your next speech. Thank you.
You can, I agree, it's the one part of the icebreaker. Thank you, Arvin. And next, we're gonna hear the comments report from Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel Evaluator. So I'll start off with our prepared speeches. Michael's speech was 5 to 7 minutes and he had 5:43, so great job. And Irvin, you had a time of 2:20, which is a little bit under, but you have plenty of opportunities in the future to improve on the length of your speech. And next is our table topics. We had Mr. Taylor, 202, Isaac, 53. And there's a lot of names here that I haven't caught yet because I'm online and I don't know some of you. So I apologize for that. Speaker number 3 had 57. Speaker number 4 had 46. Deanna had 40 seconds. Speaker number 6 had 31. Xavier had just about a minute. Mrs. Zhang had 157. Tim had 120. The next speaker had 27 seconds. Mia had 34. The next one had 34. And our last speaker, I think was Amara, had 25. And for evaluations, Xavier had 211, great job. And Tim's evaluation was a little bit over at 330, but that was a great evaluation. So thank you. Back to you.
Jonathan, now that we're gonna report from Deanna.
And then after with the others. Vivian, give it up a section. Prepare no word. Isaac had one word and word. That's word. That's a word. Word. Just Anna and Anna had. What's a word? Tim had. What's a word? Anna had. That's a word. Jonathan had. What's a word? Had. And Tim had.
Yana, with so many people, she got everybody's name down and she has this mark to see you how many times. Yeah, it's not easy, but she got it done right. Yeah. We will give her another round of applause. Thank you, Yana. Now it's time for the general evaluation of the meeting. I have to say, it is a great meeting. I feel the vibe from everybody. It is a great spirit. Everybody presented in today's meeting. Everybody is eager to practice, but that's a great thing. I especially resonate with Hannah's people topics because that's exactly my goal for Toastmasters when I joined 10 years ago. So yeah, so that's, the 10 years I was being in Toastmasters, I learned a lot. I'm still here and I really enjoyed it. And I look forward to be back to our younger generation. It is really a good program to be with. I want to say thank you to Mia for taking on the SAA role at the beginning of the meeting to start off the meeting. Yeah, and I would encourage everyone to be prepared for taking on any roles if that role is vacant. You will maybe one day to ask to give a hot topic speech. You may so always have a speech ready. You may be asked to do a Toastmaster role. So observe how Forrest did it today, so that one day you will be to do as great as he did today. So be ready to take on a role in the future. Observe, learn, and lead. So that's what we do here. All right. It is really a great meeting, but last I wanna go over the speech sign up sheet so that we can have our our speech lineup for the whole semester. And that way you will know, hey, this day I will give a speech, so I will prepare ahead of the time. Are we good with that? Okay, with that, I will bring up the sheet